The first half of that song was crazy. Hello everyone and welcome back to my channel. I am Molly, and in this video I'm going to be reacting to the experimental alternative rock project of Chino Moreno called Team Sleep. Now, if you're at all familiar with my channel, you would know that I have been doing a Deftones reaction series to all of their albums, and I've fallen in love with the band. I love Deftones, I love their sound, and a lot of you kept telling me in the comments that the lead singer of Deftones, Chino Moreno, has done some side projects as well, and that I should check them out. And the first of those is Team Sleep. So they released an album in 2005, just a self-titled album. A lot of you have been telling me it's a little bit more experimental, electronic, but still kind of infuses some of that rock, metal quality to its sound as well. So I am just really curious to hear this album, see what it's going to sound like, and yeah, let's just dive right into my reaction to Team Sleep. Alright, so to start this album off, we have track 1 called Ataraxia, I believe is how you say it. Immediately right off the bat, this reminds me of Lucky You off of Deftones' self-titled album. I like the combination of the piano and then the kind of synthy electronic sound of this one. There's that voice I recognize. I do love Chino's vocals. I'm really digging this sound. I'm enjoying this a lot. Track 1, Ataraxia. I really liked the piano that they infused on that with the electronic sounds, and definitely more like synth and electronic heavy comparing it to Deftones' work. But then you have Chino's vocals, which immediately make it more reminiscent of Deftones. And up next we have track 2 called Ever Foreign Flag. This one's pretty soft, at least at the start here. Alright, now they've got some ambient stuff they're throwing in. It's so interesting hearing this side of Chino's voice with a more stripped back track. Like very melodic, withheld. Alright, that's a little bit Deftones-ish sounding. That echoey percussion. Track 2, Ever Foreign Flag. That one was very minimalistic and melodic, very beautiful track. Yeah, it's just really interesting hearing a softer side to Chino's overall sound, and I kind of like it. It's just different. Yeah, I'm enjoying it though. And moving on to track 3, we have Your Skull is Red. Again, with the ambient stuff at the beginning, they're definitely utilizing that a lot. This track is really reminding me of a Deftones song, and I can't put my finger on which one it is. It might be Sex Tape off of Diamond Eyes, a little bit, just more melodic and very smooth and flowing. This track too definitely has a stronger percussive element to it, comparing it to the first two as well. Track 3, Your Skull is Red. Definitely the most heavy sounding track of the 3 on this album so far. They're still throwing in some electronic stuff too though, with the use of the ambient stuff at the start, and then toward the end of the track too, there was some interesting electronic sounds going on. Alright, up next is track 4 called Princeton Review. It's amazing to me that this is Chino. His voice is so soft on this album, comparing it to Deftones. This is an interesting track. It's got a great rhythm to it though, I've got to say. Even though it's pretty subdued and mellow sounding, it's also really catchy too. Now they're throwing in some distorted vocals. Track 4, Princeton Review. I'm not sure if I liked that one or not. I definitely liked elements of it though. I enjoyed just how rhythmic they kept it through the whole thing. Even though it was a pretty soft sounding track, it was also really catchy too. And up next we have track 5 called Boulevard Nights. All right, this one immediately already sounds more Deftones-ish. That sound in the background, that little electronic warbling. Yeah, I really do enjoy when they bring just a little more energy and intensity. Track 5, Boulevard Nights. I'd say that's a standout so far for me on Team Sleep. I just liked how that one just brought a little bit more intensity to it. I kind of like that harder edge paired with the electronic, more soft, melodic sound. I like the two contrasted. And up next we have track 6 called Delorian. Some muffled talking. Again, ambient stuff. This is almost like a little interlude. You just got the guitar and then that distorted vocal way in the background of this track. Track 6, Delorian. That was a pretty short one, just over a minute and a half long. Again, kind of a translate quality to that track. It's just very relaxing to listen to, and there's like this very kind of repetitive melodic pattern to a lot of the tracks on this album. All right, up next is track 7, Our Ride to the Rectory. It's almost like if you took a Deftones track and you took out all of the guitar and bass and most of the percussion and you added some electronic elements. That's what it would sound like. The tone of this track is almost a little bit unnerving. It puts you on edge, just a little bit. Again, this doesn't even sound like Chino's voice to me. It sounds like a different singer. Track 7, Our Ride to the Rectory. Something very eerie about the tone of that track. And then they had like little elements of some guitar and percussion, but it's just very, very minimal on Team Sleep, comparing it to Deftones. And moving on, we have track 8 called Tomb of Liegia, I think. Again, there's something very eerie about the start of this one. I'm loving all of the glitchy sounds on this one. And then obviously the singer's very different. I don't know who this is. This track is fascinating. I love all the sounds going on with the ambient stuff, the different singer, that glitchiness. Track 8, Tomb of Liegia, if I'm saying that right. That's actually a standout. That was a really fascinating track to listen to. For as minimal as it was, there was a lot of cool stuff going on with the use of ambient sounds, that clapping in the background, that glitchy electronic sound they threw in from time to time was just very unexpected at first. It would kind of lull you into this trance, and then when that glitchiness came in, it kind of almost startled you out of that trance a little bit. It just put you on edge. All right, up next is track 9 called Elizabeth. This track almost has a folk sounding quality to it. We've got a little more acoustic guitar on this one. Oh, I think there was just some more of that glitchy sound, yeah. I love how they're doing that. Track 9, Elizabeth, that's definitely the most natural, almost airy sounding track on this album so far. I liked the use of that acoustic guitar. It just kind of lended a more organic sound to that track. And then they still threw on just a little bit of that glitchy electronic sound too, which kind of made you realize that it's still Team Sleep and they're just doing things kind of in an experimental way. And I'm going to move on to track 10 called Staring at the Queen. This was just starting off with a bunch of sounds. Is this one gonna have any vocals? All right, now they've changed it up. Yeah, the second half of this track is very different from the first. It's very melodic and relaxing. Track 10, Staring at the Queen. That was an interesting one. The first half of that song was crazy. I liked all the sounds and effects and electronic stuff they were throwing at the beginning of that one. And then they just completely switched it up. Halfway through that track, it became very soft and mellow and melodic and simplistic. And I'm going to move right on to track 11 called Ever Since World War I. I do have to say, with less instrumentation and intensity going on, you can really appreciate just how clean and almost soaring Chino's vocals can be at times. Again, slightly reminiscent of, I would say, Saturday Night Wrist, this track. It has that quality to its tone. Track 11, Ever Since World War I. Again, that one was very smooth, trance-inducing. I really liked the vocals on that one too, just how clear they were. All right, track 12 up next is called King Diamond. I've got to say, they do have some really great beats and rhythms on this album. We have another vocalist on this one with Chino. I wonder if it's the same woman from track 8. Definitely reminds me of Pink Cell Phone off of Saturday Night Wrist. I love how smooth the vocals are, but then you have this beat that just makes it so catchy. Track 12, King Diamond. That was a weird one, but in a good way. It was very entertaining to listen to. I loved all of the sounds going on. Very electronic heavy, borderline hip-hop sounding at times with Chino's rapping quality to his vocals, and then with that beat and everything. And up next is track 13, Live from the Stage. Man, this one's really atmospheric at the start. Nice, there's that great buildup of sound. I love how this track is fusing electronic shoegaze vibes, and then they're throwing in some more rock metal qualities to the sound too. They're bringing a little bit more intensity to it. This is really an instrumental track. You have Chino's vocals in the background, but they're very washed out sounding. Track 13, Live from the Stage. That one was really cool. I liked how they brought just a little bit more of that Deftones sounding intensity to it. Just how they had that buildup of sound from the really restrained atmospheric start, and then they just brought the heavier instrumentals. Yeah, that one was a good one. I liked just the overall ambient quality of it with the intensity. It worked really well. All right, up next is track 14 called Paris Arm. Got some vocals in French. Again, these really cool electronic sounds going on. Track 14, Paris Arm. That was a short little one, just under 2 minutes, almost like another interlude of sorts. Again, they're just kind of playing around with electronic stuff, and then they had the female vocals in French that were slightly distorted. Just a very interesting one. I like all of the sounds going on here. And I'm just going to move on to track 15, the final track on Team Sleep. It is called 11 Nov. I assume it's the 11th of November. Yeah, let's just see what this one sounds like. I do really enjoy how they're pairing those really fun electronic bits and bops with this more almost acoustic rock sound. Again, to me this doesn't even really sound like Chino. His vocals are just very different on Team Sleep compared to Deftones. That was track 15, the 11th of November, the final track on Team Sleep. Again, they're fusing a lot of sounds on that one. They definitely had some electronic elements, but then it kind of had that folk sound to it again. They threw in some acoustic guitar. But yeah, that was just a very warm, melodic, again, trance-inducing track to end this album on. So that is going to wrap up my reaction to Team Sleep, the self-titled album from Chino Moreno's side project, Team Sleep. I would say it's definitely very experimental. At times, there were tracks that embraced almost a hip-hop electronic sound, and then there were the ones that were very melodic and put you in a trance, and then there were some that had a heavier edge to them, kind of more reminiscent of Deftones. So a little bit all over the place. I did really enjoy it though. It made for an interesting listen. Boulevard Nights and Live from the Stage, those two tracks, I really liked how they embraced a slightly heavier edge. And track 8, Tomb of Liegia, the electronic elements of that track were so cool with that glitchy sound. And I think my favorite track on Team Sleep is the first track, Ataraxia. Definitely more electronic in its sound, but still has that heavy quality that I really like about Deftones music. I'm really looking forward to hearing the other two projects that Chino did outside of Deftones, Palms and Crosses. I definitely plan on doing reaction videos to both of those because I'm very intrigued to hear what else he's gonna do in terms of his music. But yeah, as usual, thank you all so much for watching. Stay tuned, and I will see you in the next video.